Hi everybody, this is Monicah Kariuki, and with me today is Dr. Munyoro, Christy, Grace, and Emily. This is American Cancer Society in partnership with Kenyatta National Hospital, and we are here to tell you about the new program that Kenyatta National Hospital, American Cancer Society is rolling out. Dr. Munyoro, Kenyatta National Hospital is the only public hospital offering various options of treatment and probably much more affordable. Can you talk about accessibility of care for a local mwananchi?
Thank you. This is a patient who needs cancer treatment. So what happens is that it's the only cancer center that offers all types of treatment.
Okay.
So patients tend to come from very far. So although the treatment is available, it can be very difficult for them to be able to get the treatment because they get into Nairobi, they have no accommodation. They may not have insurance. If they have the national health insurance, then treatment will be free, but it's an outpatient. So the problems they face is transportation, accommodation, affordability of the different tests they need to do. Yes.
Dr. Munyoro was talking about them not having accommodation. They're probably coming from too far. How are we going to overcome those barriers?
We have been encouraging our patients to register with NHIF so that they can be able to afford the treatment because the National Hospital Insurance Fund is able to cater for some treatment for these patients. And we also are thinking of coming up with a place for the patients who are coming from very far to be able to stay while they are going through their treatment, because sometimes they have to get treatment for a period of time and they need a place to stay. So we're coming up with a hostel with the help of American Cancer Society and some other donors in Kenya. We are going to be coming up with a hostel where these patients will be able to stay and have some meals, because also when they come for treatment they don't have food to eat, they don't have transportation for every day, so they'll be able to stay there, get their treatment, and then after the treatment duration they can be able to go home. So there's something that is being done for these patients to really get help so that they can get access, timely access to treatment.
Okay, awesome. That's wonderful. Emily, if I can just ask you to please explain why there is a relationship between American Cancer Society and Kenyatta National Hospital.
Yes, thank you. We have a very strong relationship with Kenyatta National Hospital, and of all of the work that we do overseas, we have the largest portfolio in Kenya. So we have very strong partners, good relationship with the Ministry of Health and the leadership at Kenyatta National Hospital. We also work with some of the new cancer organizations that are coming up in Kenya. So our hope is to share our experience because the American Cancer Society has been in existence for over 100 years. So we're sharing everything we have learned and partnering with Kenyatta National Hospital to expand their services in Kenya.
Okay, all right. If Christy, you could tell us, I know you picked Kenya and you're global, but why did you specifically want to have a specialized program in Kenya?
Yeah, thank you. Well, as I mentioned, we have a global cancer control program, and we reoriented a few years ago to focus in on a few countries, of which Kenya became one of our 3 main countries. And the reason there is because it is the 3rd leading cause of death in Kenya. There's a high burden. But in particular, we had already had some earlier work around access to pain relief, and that was going very well. And we thought, if we're going to expand our work, we need to go into a place where we already have existing relationships and it's working well. So since then, we've expanded our portfolio to address these issues of patient access to care, patient access to treatment.
Yeah.
And in so doing, all of that relies on good relationships and good partnerships, and those continue to grow. So our ability to stay in Kenya and to do this work is because we found really active individuals and organizations, Kenyatta National Hospital, the Kenyan Network of Cancer Organizations, that really want to work together to address this. So we feel very fortunate to have found such a willing group of individuals and organizations to work together with.
Okay, good partners. Okay, Dr. Monyoro, Christy just mentioned that cancer is a third leading cause of death in Kenya. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and probably give us statistics?
Yes, currently it is the third leading cause of death in Kenya, and it's estimated we have about 86,500 people living with cancer in Kenya. The latest statistics show that we have about 47,800 people diagnosed every year, and we have about 33,000 people who are dying from cancer every year. The most common cancers in men is prostate, esophagus, and colorectal. For women, it is breast, cervical cancer, and esophageal cancer. So we are finding that the non-communicable diseases are becoming more important for us to really see how to take care of them.
You will also have a cancer resource center. Christy, Emily, any one of you can answer this and just tell us what is our cancer resource center? What is it going to do?
As we do in the United States, many of our Hope Lodges here have a cancer resource center, and that's because many patients and caregivers are staying there for extended lengths of time. And as you go through your cancer journey, you have more questions and more that come up, and you need a place to go to get that information. So it's a space to learn more. And one of the things, another project that we've worked on, is to develop cancer education materials for patients and carers that is suited to the Kenyan context, that is based on our research on what Kenyans know about cancer. And those materials are the kinds of things that will be made available to patients, as well as materials that any of our Kenyan partner organizations, the cancer organizations, are developing in order to ensure that everyone has access to the best information. And it might also be linking them to those community resources. So it's a place to go to continue to be able to address your cancer throughout your entire journey.
Okay. And when you talk about community resources, are you talking about, are you going to have social services, psychological services? Explain that.
Yeah, so a lot of it would be linked to outside services that are available. The navigation program, which sits inside of the Cancer Treatment Center, is already doing that, but this will continue to build those linkages between what is on offer at KNH versus what is on offer outside of the hospital, all of which will work to support the patient. So as Esther mentioned, we're working, just as we work with KNH, we're working with the cancer NGO community to be able to strengthen their ability to provide good services to patients and families and the general population, and to be able to link those. So in all of this, we're putting the patient at the center, and we're thinking about what do they need in order to complete their treatment and go home healthy. So there will be those services that either exist now, and it's about making the links, or creating new services and then having that continual ability to create the linkages.
Okay. Well, since this is a cancer resource center, is it accessible to anybody? Anybody can just walk in and get resources? Is it accessible to everybody? Or just the patient?
Just the people staying at the hospital.
Just the patients at the hospital.
For those that might be interested in knowing more, I do suggest that they consider visiting the Ministry of Health's website. They can learn about cancer there, as well as the Kenyan Network of Cancer Organizations, that really is poised to be able to operate as an American Cancer Society does, to make sure that people know about cancer and are getting the right information and linked to services. So both can work together to support people.
Okay. What about a patient that does not have insurance? How do they afford care?
Usually they pay on a cash basis. If it's an emergency, then you're actually admitted to the hospital, and you will get for your treatment, but then you have to see a social worker. So even if you didn't have money and you came to the hospital, you can be assessed by the social worker, and the social worker can get for you credit facility. So actually, you should never say you can't get treatment because you have no money. The only thing is that if you have no money, you need to be assessed by the social worker, and the social worker will then tell you what you need to do so that you can be treated within the hospital.
So they're not going to get treatment and then be kept in the hospital until they pay the bill?
They will not be kept. The only thing is that you can't come and say you don't have money and you want to go home. What will happen is if you say you don't have money, then we need you to do a bit of documentation and then you'll be allowed home. So a lot of people, when you tell them that they now need to do the documentation, then they start saying that they are being detained. But actually you are never detained. You just need to do, you need to be assessed by the social worker. Yes, because there is credit facility that gets available to you. And it takes about a week or two for you to complete the process.
Okay. Is this documentation, does it entail or does it include probably how much money they make or their property? Is that what it entails? Is that why maybe some of them refuse to do the documentation? Are we trying to find out how much they make, where they work, how much they own? Is that what it is?
Well, that is part of the process.
That's part of the
but
process.
Also where you come from, you know, to totally identify who you are and where you come from. Yeah, because some patients, we even not only discharge them, we also have to actually take them home. Like we've had a few cases where, like we had a family of 5 children who had some skin cancer, and the hospital actually had to relocate them back home. So they had to talk to the chief, they had to go to the community and find out the resources that are available there. And for a lot of these patients, you can actually get them help, you know, if they do agree to go through the process. But a lot of them, again, will not even give you the information so that you can be able to help them out, because you don't want them to go and be lost to follow up. Because again, then they will come back again to be a problem for the hospital.
Grace, NHIF is very cheap. How do a local Mwananchi, you know, or a Kenyan get in NHIF, and how do you also spread awareness about NHIF so that, you know, before they can get there, they have it?
Yeah, so every patient who comes to the hospital, we tell them, those who have not been registered with the insurance, we usually tell them about registering with NHIF and why it is important that they should register. So that if they are going to go through a long process of treatment, we advise them that it is cheaper and easier for them as they start to register, so that by that, because it takes a long time, cancer treatment takes a very long time, so that it will be able to help them during their treatment. And through the navigation program, one of the things that we do to the patients as they pass through the navigators is to advise them about NHIF, because every navigation program usually takes care of all the new patients who come there because they are uninformed. So they are usually talked to and advised and guided on how they should be able to register with National Insurance, Hospital Insurance Fund. And so we find that quite a number of them from there, they actually do register, and the registration level has gone quite high at the hospital because of just educating the patients on why it is important to register with NHIF. And they actually also see the benefits, because right now they are able to have several sessions of radiotherapy, chemotherapy, and they can also be able to access very expensive radiological investigations like CT scans and MRI. So they have seen why it is important to really have NHIF, and a lot of them are registering. And we have also had the civil society people come in and help for the patients who are not even able to get the 500 per month. So we get the civil society, they have come in and they have said, give us the patients who are not able to register so that we can register them in NHIF and they can be able to access treatment. So we're getting a lot of help from out there, and the patients are also seeing the importance of registering.
So I'm guessing that this program was implemented by American Cancer Society, because as I'm looking at this, is should I say very Americanized, right? I don't know if that's the appropriate word to say, but you have a quiet room, a chapel. So why do we have a chapel, Emily?
Well, one of the things that we've found is so important in working with Kenyatta National Hospital is taking our experience here in the United States and making sure it's culturally appropriate in a different country. So we've shared everything we've learned here and the way we run our programs, but also very much relying on the expertise of Grace and Esther and their team for what is going to be the best fit in Kenya. So I think that was an important part of the conversation about the hostel, was what spaces do we need to have and what spaces will be used and most appreciated by the patients who are staying there. And so I think it was deemed appropriate and important that there was a quiet room as well as a chapel, which we have quiet rooms at our lodges in the United States, not chapels per se, but we came to the conclusion that that was going to be important.
The program is being implemented by American Cancer Society. You know, there's a difference of how things are done in Kenya and in America. You know, I've lived in America for over 20 years now, and so I'm just, you know, I'm going to be a Kenyan advocate now, living in America, and so. In America, if I go to the hospital, if I go to see a doctor, I'm probably going to be given a diagnosis, I'm probably going to be educated, and I'm even going to give, you know, like I'm really informed. So by the time I'm consenting to care, you know, I'm signing informed consent, right? And so have you implemented in your program a way that all these patients are going to come for cancer treatment? We're going to educate them, you know, you have cancers, this is the type of cancer that you have, you know, because the reason why I'm asking that is as Kenyan people, sometimes they tend not to ask questions, and you can jump into if you want. They tend not to ask questions, and honestly they don't even know what they're getting treated for. You know, they may know that they have cancer, but they don't even know what type of cancer. They may know that they will go through chemotherapy, but they don't even know what side effects of chemotherapy, you know, that they will experience. So what kind of education are you guys going to implement that a Kenyan patient will come to Kenyatta National Hospital and be given this information from the beginning, so that they know this is the beginning of my treatment and this is, you know, going to be the end of my treatment? Any of you can jump in.
We go back to the survey we did in 2015 where we asked patients what were your barriers to treatment. And one of the things they told us is that they lacked the knowledge of what disease they're suffering from, what care they're going to get. So that was the basis for which the navigation program was started. Okay. So a navigator is somebody who takes the patient and makes sure that they do get educated.
Okay, and just to cut you short, is a navigator a nurse, a doctor? What is their profession? Okay,
so there are three types of navigators. Okay. So there's the clinical navigator. The clinical navigator is a nurse. So what happens in KNH is that you see your doctor. Your doctor looks at your biopsy results and tells you you have cancer. And then after that, you go to the clinical navigator, who is a nurse, and she answers all your questions. Well, she or he will tell you what your disease is, how long it will take, what types of treatments you will get, what are the side effects of the treatment, you know, all the implications of the treatment here. So that's navigation. Navigation makes sure that you get timely diagnosis and timely treatment. Okay. And they support you even after into survivorship if necessary. So what happens in KNH is that the navigators, the clinical navigators, have a phone, so that, you know, the first day you might, you know, the shock you've just gotten your diagnosis, so you can actually call for an appointment and continue to have those discussions about what you're going to be treated for, how long it will take, your side effects. Yeah.
Okay.
So actually, we have set up a program. So after we did the survey, the American Cancer Society gave us a grant, and we employed clinical navigators, lay navigators, and physical navigator. So the clinical navigator educates you about your disease, the side effects. The lay navigator is more about financial support, psychosocial support, and any other support that you might need. The physical navigator helps you navigate the hospital. Where are the service points? Do you need a wheelchair? Do you need a trolley? So they help them get around the hospital. And so the navigation program is actually trying to address those questions.
And I would say, you made the comment about the American Cancer Society implementing the program, and I would say it's actually not us implementing, it's us coming with our experience dealing with cancer in the United States and offering to ask the questions, what do we know about what the patient's needs are here? Can we learn about that? And then can we talk about the ways in which we've dealt with similar challenges in the United States? So we don't force a standard of care, but we talk about the options and the ways to improve it. And then it takes a while till we figure out what it looks like. And even as the program is now implemented, we make changes along the way. So it's a navigation program, but it doesn't look cookie cutter to what we do here. And at the end of the day, KNH is driving that process. The fact that the patient navigation program is happening at Kenyatta National Hospital is, the results are, we hope, very similar to any similar program in the United States, in that the patient understands their diagnosis, understands what's happening to them, and the more you know, the more empowered you are to really help drive your recovery process and your treatment process. So the end goal is the same, even if it looks a little different just because of cultural differences or logistical differences.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Great.
And in addition to the information that is given to these patients, because when they go home, they might forget the information that have been given at the hospital. So we give them booklets that contains all the information that you've talked to them about.
Yeah.
And they go home with it together with the carers so that they can always refer. And in that booklet, there is information even for the carer as to know how they can be able to handle this patient with cancer, because the carer also is somebody who is stressed up taking care of this particular patient. So they also need to be taken care of. So we give them information also.
Is that where your psychological resource center comes in?
Yes, that is informational, as well as also it takes care of the psychosocial.
Okay.
Both of it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So then, would it be safe to say that there's counseling with the whole process? Is it safe to say that there's counseling for the whole process?
That is part of the referral resource process, and I think the navigators very often, in a way, play that role as well.
Okay. Okay.
Because they take care of their emotional aspect as well. Because a patient may even be coming with cancer, but they have a lot of emotional problems, issues. And so
besides just the cancer.
So as the navigators talk them through the process, they identify these emotional issues, and they are able to address them. And so the patient is able to be helped holistically, not only just the cancer itself, but the whole issue of that patient who is coming in is able to be taken care of.
Yeah. I agree with you. It can be very, very stressful, very emotional. It is so depressing. I just went through this, with my mother going through chemo. Actually, all of us, the four of us, had to fly back to Kenya, to see her through the treatment. So it can be very emotional. So if there's any support for the family as well, I think that would be great. I want to talk about your program is going to be affordable, almost free. The hostels are free. But how are we going to pay for this? how do you plan on paying for it?
So we are fundraising for the hostel both here in the United States as well as in Kenya. So the American Cancer Society is focusing on raising funds in the U.S.
Yeah.
And we're at a very important point in the process because we have until the end of the year, December 31st, to raise $500,000 for the project, and our partners are also raising funds in Kenya. So this is not only for the construction, but also for long-term operating support, which is going to be so critical for keeping the facility open. And we are collectively doing this fundraising work because we want to break ground in early 2019. We don't have any time to waste to get the facility built and open so that it can start serving patients.
Okay. So once you break ground, how long is it going to take for the construction until the facility can be in use? Christy, do you know?
Well, I think it depends on the KNH team and the ability to build it. I think you can speak more to
If
kind of
there's
the
a time
current
frame, you can tell us if
projections.
there's a
Well, we believe
projection
we can do
or
it in 1 year.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you would like to build it within 1 year,
Yes.
which is
And
fine.
get it operational.
Yeah. Okay, so can you tell our viewers if they wanted to contribute, they wanted to donate, how do they get to do that?
Well, we have a couple of ways to support the project. You can donate through our website, which is www.cancer.org/Kenya Hostel. We also have a new hashtag, which we're very excited about. It just went live, hashtag ACS Kenya Hostel.
Okay.
And you can also contact any of us on the global team at ACS to support the project.
And just for our viewers, that is their Cash App, and it is going to be there on the screen so you can see that. And so if you want to donate, that's the Cash App.
And I'd just like to add about this 500,000. We have a donor here in the United States who has pledged a $500,000 match. So anyone that donates between now and December 31st will have their funds matched 100%. So this is really the time to donate, both to help get us over the edge so that we can break ground in 2019. But this is a time-limited opportunity, and so we're trying to get the word out as much as possible, both to your viewers as well as anyone else that they know. And for those that I know you have some viewers in Kenya, we also have an M-Pesa pay bill number.
Okay.
Yes, 47 444 4444.
474444. Why would it be so important for diaspora to join in this effort?
I think it's very important for them to join in so that they can support their brothers and sisters in Kenya, because one of the things that we want to do with supporting Kenyan cancer patients is to change the narrative around cancer. We know we've done it before, we've changed narrative around serious disease, and so we believe that if we can support cancer patients, long term our outcomes can be very good, and we can have as many survivors of cancer as they are in the USA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Grace, or again, you, Dr. Monero, why would anybody not want to? Because if they live in diaspora, they're able to take their relatives to India for treatment, right? Or possibly they could. So, why would they now look at Kenyatta National Hospital as a new program that is here and is, beneficial and probably cheaper than going to India and choose Kenyatta National Hospital versus going to India?
Kenyatta National Hospital has the human resource that is well specialized in treating cancer. And we have the equipment that is able to really take care of these cancer problems. And so the diaspora should look at it as like if they actually contribute to this worthy cause, they are helping our patients to be able to find accessibility to the very specialized treatment that we have at the hospital. And our patients don't have to go to look for treatment in India. It's even more expensive going to India than actually getting that treatment at the hospital.
Yeah.
And they can look at it like they are actually helping to support those very underprivileged in the society. Because the kind of patients who come to Kenyatta are those who cannot afford the private hospital, the Nairobi Hospital, the Aga Khan Hospital, which are the private hospitals in our country.
Yes.
And so we are actually trying to support the underprivileged in the society so that they can also be able to access treatment, timely treatment like any other person. Because the aim of the country this time is to have universal health care for all, including those who cannot be able to afford. So that is a way of actually giving back to the society and helping the underprivileged to be able to access. So they should not be denied treatment because they are not able. They should be able to access the treatment.
Right. I'm gonna give you guys a chance to just say your final words, so we'll start from there and go down that way, and then we can wrap this up.
Okay, maybe what I could do is add about going to India. When you go and get treatment in India, when you come back, you don't have continuous support for your cancer. And actually, if you have had cancer, you're a candidate for complications, long-term complications of cancer. You're a candidate for a second cancer. So actually, it is better to be treated at home so that you can continue to be monitored. So a lot of people who go to India are actually disadvantaged. So I think diaspora should help us get our programs in place so that patients have good care all through. Whether it's your first cancer or your second cancer, or when you're a survivor, you continue to get good care.
Yeah. Okay. Christy?
Sure. Well, thank you again for this opportunity. And I would just say that particularly if you're a member of diaspora, you've been able to experience life in a different place, and you've been able to come to count on certain services and things available to you that maybe were not available in Kenya. And so I think it is about contributing back to the development of your country. And this is one of these areas that is really painful for many people in Kenya right now to face. And so we all have to put in an effort to make the difference and to change the face of cancer in Kenya. So I hope that there's a bigger goal here to, whether you're living in Kenya or not, but to feel that Kenya can also provide the kinds of services that we know cancer patients need. So I would ask for their support, and I appreciate it.
Okay. Grace?
Thank you for this program, and I want just to say that cancer burden is real in Kenya, and we are all able to contribute to the bringing down of this cancer burden. And so we just want to call to everyone outside Kenya, within Kenya, to come up, we team together and just bring down the burden of cancer in our country.
Thank you, and I will just add to reiterate what everyone has said, that we have an incredible opportunity right now to build this hostel, and I ask everyone to support it. I would like everyone who sees this to make a gift of any size and also tell their network about this project, because it is going to make a huge difference, and we are really anxious to get it built.
Thank you so much for watching. I have been talking to Dr. Munyoro, Christy, Grace, and Emily, and this is American Cancer Society in partnership with Kenyatta National Hospital. Every dollar counts, every penny counts, and it's going to go a long way. If everybody can just assist so that we can help those people that are back in Kenya. The Cash App hashtag is on your screen, and the website is also on your screen as well, so you can